It is 6:05. I will open the October 1st, 2024 meeting of the Rutland Conservation Commission. We do have a quorum tonight. In attendance in the room, Brian Bjorklund, Tim Keenan, Linda Williamson, Skip Clark, and Jared Gentilucci. We are on Zoom, we are on local cable, YouTube later on as they process it. And let's see, so I got the agenda up. We can start with meeting minutes. Let me pull those up. If anybody needs me to scroll through, let me know.
I'll make the motion to accept as written.
Second.
Any discussion?
I think Glenda's gonna have to second because Tim and Brian weren't here.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
Second.
good call.
I appreciate the feedback. So, Tim.
Do roll call. Brian, we'll start with you, your end.
Abstain?
Abstain?
Williamson, aye.
Clock eye.
Gentilucci, aye. All right. And minutes approved. We've got no applications or public hearings tonight, so we'll go down to old and new business. First item we have is tree clearing at 76 Woodside Ave. This is to review a request to cut down some hazardous trees within 100 feet, 100-foot buffer zone. And just looking to see, I don't think we have anybody here on Zoom to speak to this one. This was a previous, they did some previous tree cutting on this property, right?
Correct,
Tamika?
yeah, so in January of 2022, the commission had done a site visit and had issued an administrative approval for them to cut down the hazardous trees. So the property owner reached out again, he said he has a few more that he needs to get rid of. When I ran it by Melissa, she would like to have something from the tree company confirming that they are actually hazardous. So he has an appointment with them, I believe, this coming Saturday.
Okay.
He was gonna try to hop on Zoom, he didn't know if he could, but I didn't know if you guys would wanna schedule a site visit in the meantime, or if you wanted to just go on the word of the tree company.
What do the commission members think?
The order of the tree company's fine with me.
Same.
It's not as if they're clearing down forest or anything.
Yeah, did he say how many trees?
He didn't say how many,
Okay.
he just mentioned a few in
Okay.
his email.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it wasn't that many that cut down last time.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple, 2 or 3, something like
Maybe
that.
it was 3 of them last time.
Yeah, and I know they left the stumps in before. Assuming they'll do that here too. Okay.
So is the commission okay if I bring back something in writing from the tree company for the next meeting for your consideration?
Sounds like everybody's
Good to me.
generally okay with that? Yep, I'm good with that. Yeah, nobody wanted to do a site visit, I assume. Doesn't really seem necessary. If the tree company provides something, I feel like that's probably good. If anybody wants to, you can drive by. 76 Woodside, that was as you come in off of, was it Charnock Hill? I feel like it's one of the first houses on the left, right? Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yep, it's
Yeah.
right at the beginning of the
Yeah.
roadway.
Yep, okay. All right, I don't think we have to do any vote or anything on that, so I think we're good
Did you
there.
wanna try to confirm the stumps somehow, or?
We could do a walk through, drive by after he cuts them down, but
We can add it as a condition.
Yeah.
I believe in the other letter, you guys had added a condition that the stumps had to remain.
I think we did,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a good point, Tim. I think we'd wanna have that same condition,
Mhm.
which hopefully they're amenable to, cause that's what they did last time.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay, anything else in that item? Good, alright, moving on. We got the pond and dam at 69 Pommogussett Road, follow up after our site visit on September 20th. Where do we wanna start, Glenda? Do we wanna start just with,
Why don't we start with our meeting with Mr. Warrington? How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yes, so we had a pretty good look around. things were much more clear if we went onto the site as just listening at the last meeting, but I took some photos. I didn't know if you wanted to, if you could share those and I could just kind of tell
Pull
you,
those up. Yep.
just get a better idea of the environment out there.
See if I can scroll
I
through.
guess that is Moulton Road, the underpass.
Correct. The upstream
That
side.
has been compressed down to a 2x4 outlet.
Okay, we're just gonna go through the photos for now and then
Okay,
if
very
you
good.
could comment afterwards, please. So that's just some sediment before it goes under the private road downstream.
That's after the private road. It's on the other side of the Moulton Road. My property's on the other side of the road.
Right.
Let's see, I tried to open them all, not sure it did. We'll go one by
It won't let you arrow.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Now it will. There we go. Okay.
That's the river as it's
So that's the channel.
what's left of it.
Yeah, I'd like to speak, please, if you wouldn't
Oh, I'm
mind.
sorry.
That's the channel after he released and opened up the 10-inch low-level pipe. And then this is the weir, I believe this is where the 10-inch discharges.
No,
Or no, so that's the upstream side, sorry. That's the pond side, yep.
that there's the dam that's in front of the house. There's a concrete pad in front of the house. They used to run logs through that.
Okay.
Right, I remember that, yep.
Oh, yeah, that's where that old wheel was.
Um,
No, the old wheel is on the waterfall side.
Yeah, but there's a photo of it on the
Yeah.
other side. Which is actually pretty cool if that's the original. And that's
That's the
the
primary pipe that
other
comes out.
outlets.
That's actually the primary.
Okay,
That's the one closest to Miles Road. I mean Moulton Road, excuse me. To the left of that, you can see on the bottom, there's black pipe. That's next to the laying down log. That's a 2-foot pipe. Do you see that in the middle of the picture?
yep, and that's,
That there wraps around, goes over to Moulton Road and wraps around back over to the other side of the dam, where I have a 6-foot concrete form that used to go out to Moulton Road. And that was the emergency exit for the pond. That's the 4th and the 5th exit. To the right of that is the waterfall where the wheel is, and that's the secondary exit. Moulton Road was raised about 2 feet, so now that black pipe is pretty much the 4th exit. If it gets real high, it'll end up going right down Moulton Road. Because they had raised that about 2 feet when they paved it.
this is pretty self-explanatory.
Can I explain something about that picture there?
Sure.
The river used to come straight down the middle. But it has such debris came down from the road in the banking. The banking was like a 20-foot banking. And it all settled in front of the river, which ended up building up a debris of cat and nine tails. Now the river almost takes a 45-degree turn and goes to the complete right. It doesn't even come down the middle anymore because it has built up with about 3 feet of gravel that's about like pea size and stone size, about this size here. And now that's all the stuff that had come down from the banking, plus the stuff that had come down last year during the road exposure, where the road was exposed and everything came down the banking and into the river. I think we had 60 inches of rain last year. And 3 months of when they were working on the road there, I think we had 20 inches of rain. It was extremely bad last year. So all that silt that come down from a half a mile from the center of town came down on my side of the road, down the banking, right into my pond. And everything that came down on the left-hand side started to run into Molten Pond. So they put a barrier up, a curb, to prevent any water from going into the pond, because you could see the stuff had crossed that area where the fishing parking lot is there, and it went into the pond. So they put the curb up, but the curb only went to the dam, into the trench of the dam, which directly goes into my part of the pond. Nothing else went onto Molten Pond. Everything was going into my pond, both sides. So between the debris that come down off the banking and the road, I don't have a pond left. So much debris had built up. The pond used to be 8 feet deep, not when I bought it, but 3-4 years ago, it was 5 feet deep down on the backside here. And in the front side, it used to be a pond, but now even in the high water, it's out of water.
Could we go to the next photo, dear? That's his dam. I'm not sure what that trench is for.
My house is to the left of that, probably, I guess about 15 yards. My house runs diagonal to that berm there. That raises up about 3-4 feet right there. So I was gonna put some pond liner to stop the stuff from flowing through, because this is just a stone gravel soil barrier from that. That's what the whole dam is stones. So I'm just trying to stop the seepage to seeping into the house there, to the concrete pad there, and I was gonna do a little bit of concrete pad around. They got a few small holes that I want to fill around the concrete pad. And that was my intent until I got stopped by, I just wanted to patch some holes. Not too often you get low water. And this year's been extremely dry, so I was trying to patch a few holes, and then I got to stop to cease and desist.
I think this
That's
is
the
looking,
waterfall.
I was gonna say that we're looking at the dam now.
Yep.
Right, the uphill side, pond side.
In the corner of the, you see where that steel plate is there? At the left edge of that is kind of the edge of the concrete pad. So I was just trying to do some concrete work right in that corner there, because the soil is only like 2 feet thick at that level. So I was gonna do some concrete work and then just stop the water from going around that corner. On the high level, you can see the high water mark. Could you go back on the picture there? See where the top brown is?
Yeah.
During the springtime, that's where the water level is. So it's going out, that exit is the secondary exit. So I have a flume going off the waterfall like this here, as well as the primary. And it's, with the high water that we had for the dam, across the street, the pond was very high, and when they were releasing the dam, it was going through all 5 exits. All 4 exits. It wasn't going over Molten Road, but it was going out all 4. And I ended up having flood in my backyard because I can't get through that 2x4 pipe.
Was the water level that high this past spring?
Oh, geez, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I have pictures if you need.
Okay.
Then I had to go tell them to release the dam, and when they released the dam, if it was, I had times it was almost going over my dam.
Yeah. Is that same channel we were looking at before?
Mhm.
House is to the right in
Yes.
this picture.
Yes.
Dam's to the right as well. Pommogussett to the left.
And you're almost looking from Molten Road.
So if I don't know if you can zoom in, but this,
Yeah.
you can just see that if either I thought you said 8 or 10 inch.
Yeah, I think it's 8 or, I'm not sure if it's 8 or 10 inches.
But that's the low level one that's supposedly was unplugged at some point.
It's the natural drain of the pond. I think it's 5 feet from the waterfall to where the high waterfall is. I think it's 4 feet to maybe the soil line.
Do you remember approximately when that was unclogged? Just approximately, like the month? Would you say July, end of July, beginning of August?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere around July maybe.
Because like you're saying that the pond was intact in the spring. So maybe it was kind of like late summer.
The water wouldn't going over any of the exits. The water was just leaching through the holes I was trying to patch.
Back when the water level was higher, I assume there was not any water coming out of this pipe?
Yes, it was leaking out,
There was,
yes.
like a slow trickle or?
Yeah, it was more than even that. It was,
Yeah. Okay. So this pipe did see some flow even before it was unclogged. But it obviously didn't flow enough to drain the pond down. It was just enough to allow some water to pass at the lower elevation. Was the pipe just clogged with sediment? Is that all it was? It wasn't like
well, the sticks in front of and somehow the sticks broke and once the pressure, you have to be careful because it creates a siphon.
Yeah.
Right now I got like, cause the water level's kinda in between, I got a tornado going down.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, it wasn't any sort of intentional plug in the pipe or anything like
No.
that. It just over time.
Just over time, between the sediment coming down from the, I mean, I've tried to be a good steward of the pond, and I have been since I bought the property. I've been dealing with Joe Buckley through the years. And he kept saying, you know, the dam's gonna get fixed, and all this is gonna get rectified down the road, and I'm trying to be, you know, a responsible landowner.
Glenda, anything else in this picture?
No. No, I don't think so.
I think, was this downstream?
Yeah, I'm not sure, I think that was maybe still on his property,
Yeah,
below his house, and between his house and the road.
that sounds right. Yeah, it was pretty evident, you could see the sediment had built up in the stream, downstream of the dam.
And that's been changing almost every day, but depending how much water they run through those pipes, the existing pipes when they get a good flow, everything flushes out, and then when they let the flow down a lot, all that sediment settles again. So it's like, depending on how much water they're running through those pipes, they got the 3 pipes actually that are running water through. Sometimes there's barely a trickle. And other times it's, it can't get through my pipe. You know, it's building up, and then it's building up through the trenches, backing up into the pond,
Okay.
and then it recedes, and then the bankings have been collapsing.
Glenda, remind me, I think you took this picture, was this on the other side of Molten Hill Road?
Not sure, can you go through some more photos and
Yeah.
see, maybe I could get a better perspective,
This might be, was this the last
or
one?
that was the last one?
I think, yes, that was the last one.
Somewhere downstream,
It looks,
I think like that might have been below, I think that might be actually below the road, and then the BBW's further down.
yeah,
I think that's,
I tried to get involved with the layout during the planning of it. I had asked them to bypass the pond so they could rectify the problem that deposits that they put in it. Nobody seemed to wanna listen.
Back to the agreement. Okay. Well, what do we think our next steps are here?
Well, we don't really have, as Tamika was saying, we don't have a definitive answer from the DEP. I don't think.
I don't know if Jenna has any feedback on the DCR side that.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
We need to get, I guess, some input for the DCR and see what their findings were.
I had asked, for the results of the silt test that they did in my pond. They'd done silt
I
tests.
didn't, sorry, go ahead.
I had done silt, I had asked for the silt tests that were done last year, cause I had noticed they were doing them in the molten pond, so I asked to have them done in my pond, because not much silt was going into molten pond, because 95% of it was going into Mayan, and Mayan seemed like nobody was paying any attention to it. And then they said that they were gonna do it in the spring, and then they said they were gonna do it somewhere around December, and they may have done a walkthrough, but as far as I know, I don't know if it was sediment that was ever checked or not.
You called it silt testing, do you know specifically what they were going to do?
Because of all the runoff from the silt and the road, and that's what my complaint was. I mean, everything was running, the banking was no longer there. It was like a 45 and now it was a 90 degree. With trenches like, canyons going down to 16-foot banking. Everything was running into a 3-foot moving river. Nothing was gonna settle in that 3-foot moving river. Everything was going directly into my pond. There's only 3 feet of river that runs probably, I guess, 40 yards. And then it hits the cat and nine tails and takes a quick left-hand turn. So I wanted a sediment of all the stuff that had been coming down from the road as well as what's piling up. Where the primary exit is, I had pure white sand, which
Who were you talking to when you said you were complaining, to who?
DPW, DOT, Roger Wilkes. I've been to Conservation Commission several times. Austin, what's his last name?
Saganowitz.
Siganowicz. I used to deal with Joe Buckley many times, and then I've had a few health issues, so I didn't realize he was gone. And I know Chris, and I've been dealing with Chris now. Tamika, I've been DCR, I've been trying to deal with Alan.
Okay, did we wanna get Jenna's
Yeah,
input on
Jenna, I
it?
see you're unmuted now, did you wanna go ahead and talk?
Yeah, I can just relay to you what Alan had, the information that Alan had given to me. So he went out on Friday, the 27th, did a site visit with Mr. Warrington. He advised the homeowner to request an advisory ruling. And with that request, also submit some type of plan showing the extent of the work. The plan should also include dimensions of any concrete walls, piping, erosion controls, and dewatering if necessary. And also any proposed solutions to not deplugging, as we're calling it, the pipe, which results in the sediment downstream.
And I had asked him about what my options were to get the pond, so I wouldn't have to worry about the sediment. And that way there, the pond could work like it's supposed to and do it. I mean, that's the natural function of the pond. When it's high water, everything gets filtered out, and when it's not high water, then, it's just the natural function of the pond. And now that, you know, to make I wanted to just do some little patchwork on the dam. I'm not gonna put in a concrete wall. That's way too extreme for me, and I just wanted to patch a few holes, and since I was trying to take advantage of the low water, I'm not gonna go to the extreme of putting concrete walls and all that. That's way too out of my, that's way out of my park. So I just wanna secure a few holes to stop the leakage of the dam. And remove the sediment somehow that the town was kind of making promises through the years that this was all gonna get rectified, and I allowed the deposits and all that street runoff last year, which devastated my pond, as well as my driveway.
So DCR wants an advisory ruling for work in their primary zone, and then the last correspondence with the DEP is saying that he'll be in touch regarding how they would like to move forward, so I don't feel like we have enough input from the DEP to make a decision at this time, but that's just my opinion.
I agree.
I would agree with that. I think we'd like to get more input from them, especially since it sounds like they were gonna offer up more.
Yeah, and they're like on the radar now, so
Yeah.
it's not like we can just.
Who are we waiting for?
The State Department of Environmental Protection had, I think, had they received a complaint?
Yes.
I think they received a complaint from a resident in the area in regard to the pond being drained. So then I
I thought
don't,
it was because of the silt that had built up in my pond, just happens to be running into his property, and that, why are you blaming me for the silt that the town has deposited in my property?
yeah, I don't think so much it's the silt, I think it's the matter of there's no more pond. And that's,
Well, there will be when the water flows,
yeah, people notice, but right now, there's no way to, there's,
there's no water flow. Maybe we're in a drought, we've been in a drought for a
right,
month and a
but
half.
when it opens up down the road, I'm assuming we need to find a solution that works for everyone.
That's what I've been trying to do for years.
Yeah, I'm not,
Now,
I'm not pointing fingers, I'm not disputing what you're saying, I don't, like, I believe the circumstances you're telling us. But you can't do work in a resource area, on a dam, in a stream.
to patch holes, I can't just let the water flow and damage my property.
Right, but I'm saying you can do the work, you can do the repairs, that's fine, but you have to file a permit with the commission, a notice of intent, and get an order of conditions issued.
Well, I didn't think it was that detailed to fill a few small holes in my foundation.
Yeah, no, this is kind of a bigger deal, because you're working directly in a resource area, so
I know, but I'm not in the water either.
it doesn't matter, you're in our jurisdictional
I'm on
area.
the shoreline, that's what I am.
So that's where kind of the DEP and the DCR are coming from, that perspective. I can't speak for the whole commission, but a filing with the commission would have been a good step. And get an order, get the work conditioned.
Well, maybe I pushed it because not too often you can get dry water, and they were working on the dam, and I figured it was it's a matter of like a week of me patching some holes, and then everything would have been done, and
That would be,
then I would have been
right.
working with the Conservation Commission to try to figure out how they were gonna get the stuff out of my pond, which I have been trying to do for many years now, and working with the town, and working with, I've been talking to the wrong people, I don't know.
Yeah. For, in terms of like removing sediment from a resource area, that requires a lot more permitting than just a notice of
Yeah, but the
intent.
town, everything came from the town and the road being exposed. Am I stuck with just the debris of it all?
That's to be determined, I guess. Tamika, if we could try and
Was there, excuse me.
touch base with DEP again.
Yeah, I'll follow up with him.
What was the sediment check in locations?
I'm sorry,
Was there sediment check in locations of my pond?
I don't think so.
No, you didn't.
I don't think the DEP actually went out there.
Are you talking about by DOT? or DEP?
Whoever was taking the sediment check, DOT, I do believe, because I talked to Roger, and he said there was silt checks done in my pond. I just spoke to him just the other day.
See, I didn't,
See, that's nothing to do with us though.
yeah, that's not our business, but I wasn't aware of,
And we got no reports. We got no reports.
right, we weren't in the loop on if the DOT did any sampling
Well,
or,
in the Conservation Commission meetings, I think it was Tracy?
Capilati.
Yes, she's the one that had said that she had done a walkthrough. She had walked down Moulton Road. This is on December 5th, 2023. Walked down Moulton Road and did a visual check. Now, there's not much you can see from Moulton Road. You go down and check where it runs through the underpass on the other side. That's about it. And whether she went down the banking, 16-foot banking, which was kind of straight down, I do not believe she went down. And whether she took any soil checks or locations, like I'm sure there were in Moulton Pond. And she said there was no visual. This is on December 5th. On December 8th, because of all that rain, we had 7 inches of rain in December. They had to remove the barriers on the road. They removed all the barriers on my side of the road. Left it like that until this year, until they just did the dam. On the other side, they left the curb all the way to the dam. So whatever was coming down the north side of 100 yards was running directly into the dam, which isn't bad. Half a mile from the church all the way down to the dam was running over the banking into my dam, into my pond. The reason they had to take the barriers down is because the water was piling up at the bottom of the hill. This is the way it's been since last December 8th. And the way it had been for years and years until they put the barriers up because they realized all the silt was going down. So they tried to stop it and they couldn't. So I went to the town and they said, nothing we can do. I understood. Now I've been trying to work with them and now I'm stuck. Very frustrating.
It almost seems like there's two separate issues here, though. You know, you have the immediate thing, like what Glenda was saying. And
Yeah,
then
but it's all
we still have,
secondary because of what's
it's two, kind of two, if you just trying to help.
Patch a few holes in my dam, that was no big deal. I mean,
Well,
the release of the pond, I mean, that's the way the pond was designed. It's the natural
you
process.
have two
of
separate
the pond.
issues. You have the silt that's in there that you're claiming is, you know, from
I didn't put
outside
it here.
sources. It's almost a separate issue than what we have to deal with, right now, you know?
This is what is laying in front of, 18 inches of this in front of my primary exit, which is just pure sand. This is all the stuff that's piled in the front come down from the banking. That's in front where the river used to run. You can't run that way anymore. This here is the stuff that's just coming down from the pond now, from the work that they're doing in the pond, up the street. And this here is debris from up by where the river makes the 45-degree turn, and it's taking away all the stuff that came down from the banking. And it's all like gravelly, sandy. I didn't put that stuff there. The pond's doing its natural thing.
So we have two
Oh, yeah?
reports. I don't know if whoever requested this, Swicka Environmental Consulting Company. we have a report from October 30th, 2023, and again, September of this year, but it doesn't, we don't have anything around the December 2020, the 23 timeframe. We don't have any reporting between October 30th of 23 and to now. There's nothing, no report. So it doesn't really say what happened in the interim.
It's in the meeting notes,
Yeah.
the Conservation Commission meeting notes.
So these are just like two
They're in the meeting notes
snapshots.
From the Conservation, I just told you the
Yeah.
dates that they're in.
But these are just like two snapshots in time that don't really, as far as I'm concerned, give us much information. So, I don't know, does anyone else have anything?
Well, I like the way you explained it earlier, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's pretty straightforward. The way you explained it.
I think we need to,
Could you say that again, sir? I'm sorry.
I think
couldn't hear
he
you.
was just
I said
saying.
the way she explained it earlier, which is what I was telling you, that I think there's two separate issues here. I could be wrong, but you know, you have an issue, but right now we have to deal with where we stand right now. And what wasn't done properly.
Well, my intent is
You know.
just to patch my stone wall and wait for the town to decide what they wanna do with the debris.
But you have a cease and desist.
Well, I have to file a permit to patch my
Yeah.
dam.
Yeah, to do any work in that area.
You need a DCR variance and a, I don't know, that's why I wanna talk to
I mean, in order
DEP.
to use 2 bags of concrete, it's a lot of process I have to go through right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Um,
that's the way it is.
and how long we can maintain a low water like this, I'm very thankful the weather's been the way it is right now, because I was very concerned with the exposure I had down there for the past 4 weeks, because if something ever happened, I told my wife, if you hear a noise, you run quick.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, that's why I think it's important we consult with DEP, cause there's several ways that we could allow the work. We could do a notice of intent with the order of conditions, maybe we could do an emergency certification.
Yeah, and how do I do that?
Emergency certification's quick, and you have, I think, 30 days to do the work.
Yes, I believe so.
And then the third option would be a friendly enforcement order, which would also allow you to do work quickly without having to wait for an order of conditions.
Yeah, I wanted to lay down, I had bought 100 feet of pond barrier, and I wanted to lay that down in the front where the waterfall is, and I wanted to lay it in that trenched area there.
Okay,
And then I was gonna put the stones back on the barrier there, and I needed the trench to hold, because everything was just falling away.
so,
My intent of the trench and the barrier is to lay the, it's thin pond barrier stuff.
understood, okay, I think we all have a pretty good idea of the work that you want to do. It's just how do we get there from here?
Well, I do like to do as quickly as I can.
Okay, so we'll hopefully be able to get in consultation with DEP as soon as possible then. They're not always easy because they're very busy.
Yeah, it would be good to know if they have a preference for the best way to move forward.
Right, because if
One of
we,
those options.
right, as a commission, we could make a decision and then DEP could say nope. They could overrule us and say they want a notice of intent or they want an enforcement order.
I wanna know a decision on what? What are you making a decision on? Me being able to patch my holes or?
No,
Right,
just the
right.
permitting process to allow you to do it. That's what we need to make a
Okay, but
decision
what
on.
about the silt and stuff from the pond? This is a whole different thing you're talking about?
Well, it's like Tim was saying, that part,
Issues.
we have to split it up into two pieces here.
Okay.
The dam repair that you wanna do,
Okay,
we have some thoughts as to how we can help you do that, just going through the proper procedures, but we need
Okay.
some input from DEP, cause if we decide we think this way is the way to go and DEP thinks another way is the way to go, it's gonna make the process take even longer. So I think, I agree with Glenda, it makes sense for us to get some input from DEP, hopefully we can get some relatively soon. And we can figure out a good path forward. With the sediment, to me, that's a trickier issue. This is just my opinion, I don't think it's unreasonable when you say that that sediment is not coming from your property, because I've been out to the site, I'm not sure where it could have come from your property. I mean, your property in the pond, it's basically right up against Pommogussett. So I don't know if this will be the best course of action, but I know you said you had been in touch with Joe Buckley before when he was
Yes,
running the DPW.
several times, several.
I would suggest reaching back out to Chris and seeing if that sediment in fact was coming from Pommogussett Road.
I did reach out to Chris and Austin at the same time. It was
Okay.
during one of the meetings and I was trying to show them, and they saw it visually, the trenches going down, the banking.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, what have you done to fix the problem? And there's nothing I can't do anything to the pond side, you know? There's nothing I can do, except tell you guys. And then that's when they had that 2-foot pipe. And that was supposed to take the debris from the road. That's the 2-foot pipe, the black pipe. And that's when the road was paved. But after the black pipe to next to nothing, and then the exposure was maybe 100 yards? No, 50 yards of exposure of banking that just went right down into the 3-foot trench of the river. For, like I said, 40 feet of a 3-foot wide river into an open, which used to be open. When I bought the property, it was open. It's no longer open.
So I don't know how other commission members feel, but I think for that part of this, I think re-engaging with DPW, that would be my first step, my recommendation. If in fact that sediment was essentially coming from the public right of way. Unless others.
That was through the years when the road was paved, but last year, it was 60 inches of rain, and the exposure in a couple of weeks, there was people that totally lost their driveways. Lambert's completely lost their I don't think it was Lambert's, but it was the next house down from me. I've lived on Pommogussett my whole life. I used to live at 43, now I live at 69. So I've lived in Rutland my whole life, and so I've lived on the street my whole life. And I know the house, like I said, I've lived it since 79, I bought property on 43 Pommogussett. So I've lived there, I know it, the DPW, it's right down the street, so I know the people. I'm trying to be a good steward.
No, we appreciate that, and I think it's a complicated situation, and I think it's worth it for us just to say on the wetland side, we can help you with that process, we'll coordinate with DEP to see what they think. But DCR is also part of this process that you have to go through.
And when I was speaking to DCI, when he come and says, you're gonna need permits, and then I was looking, I said, well, if I'm gonna have to go through all this, then I'm gonna put a concrete wall and, make it super secure. But then it's a big process, this is way more extreme than I want to get. I just wanna patch a few holes and make it so it doesn't leak, and try to get the pond somewhere back to its natural state.
Okay.
And be a good steward for the property and the town.
Yeah, and DCR, our jurisdiction's wetlands, and I know it seems like the same thing, but DCR is watershed. It is different regulations, different jurisdictions, and there are lots of projects and sites in town where we both have jurisdiction, but it is separate from each other. Just wanted to say that just so you're aware of it.
And the other project I've been trying to deal with the town for many years is the underpass underneath Moulton Road. I mean, that is a 2x4. I have 16 feet of, more than 16 square feet of exit going into 2x4. It's a big difference. And now, I'm concerned about, you see the size of those pipes coming through under the underpass? That's 10 by 10. How much water can come through? I don't know. Does anybody know?
I'd have to look at the plans. I thought they had some controls on that flow, but I'd have to look at the plans.
No,
for
from
that.
what I understand, it's kind of like a taper. So the more rain that is on the other side, the further distance it goes across.
Okay.
the more flow that goes, and
Yeah.
the distance between one side to the other, that's gotta be, I don't know, 60 feet or something? And how much water can go through that 10 by 10 channel into my little pond? Onto a 2 by 4 pipe? They better work, because it has just about gone over Moulton Road several times. When I went up to ask the DPW to release the dam, because it was 6 feet over, the dam on Moulton Road. Not Moulton, on Pommogussett. I'd asked them to release the dam because it was getting extremely bad, and they'd go release some sticks out, and that was how they'd lower the water level. And there was times they took too much stuff out, and they'd have to put stuff back in order to stop the flow, because it was, I had 5 foot of water in my basement. Twice. And at that point, it was like 6 inches from going over Moulton Road. So it's a big problem that hasn't been addressed, and I stopped at the DPW today and left a message, and Chris was supposed to call me, but I haven't gotten a call back.
Is that culvert under Molten Mill Road? I think we talked about it on site, but I assume that is DPW's culvert, town culvert.
Well, there was a big debate on whether that's a public road. Apparently it's public on my side and it's private on
Further down.
Further down
the other side.
to the person on the corner. That's what one of the police officers told me.
Because they were gonna apparently use that as a bypass, and I think he kinda put a stop to it, I think.
Yeah, I just was pulling it up on GIS to remind myself, and that's how it shows up on GIS, is that the public portion of it does stop before you get down to Miles Road. There is a section that is on private property.
Which that makes absolutely no sense. You'd think the
It
whole
doesn't,
road,
but
the whole road would be either public or private,
That's
but
got
not,
nothing to do with us.
that right.
but not both, I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
No, it doesn't, but yeah, nothing we can do about
I
that.
kinda ask you,
Right.
I know there is other private dams in town. You got Thayer's Pond, which is a private dam. My dam is called Sawmill Pond Dam. Molten Dam is that, who owns that? I thought the town owns that, or? Who
Not that I
owns,
know of.
I don't know.
who owns Molten Pond?
Clea Blair.
So, I'm not sure.
I'm
I
not
think
sure
it
either,
is,
but
I think it might be Clea Blair,
I think it is Clea.
cause I remember he got a fine
Hmm.
in the past for a discharge.
I know when they
Yeah.
released Thayer's Pond, they just released it by dynamite or pulling debris out because of the beavers. And, that's how they've been releasing all the dams. And where the debris is going, the debris is going. Almost the same principle as mine. The debris ended up releasing, and now I'm stuck holding the problem.
All right, so what do you wanna do, Tamika?
I would say the next step, based on the commission's feedback, is I'll follow up with DEP and find out what course of action they're most comfortable with, and then we can bring that back to the commission at the October 15th meeting. And then, obviously DCR will stay in the loop with them as well, because they'll have their own separate permitting process.
Does DCR have records of where the silt was checked in Molten Pond and in my pond?
They probably would if they did it. Then all you do is call and ask them.
Isn't DCR on the phone? I thought they,
I'm not aware of any sediment that was tested, but I can check in with Alan with that. And if there was any record of that, I can have him reach out to you.
is a visual check, is that a standard check for checking on the silt in a pond? Because that's the way it was mentioned in the meeting minutes of December 5th meeting. She did a walkthrough down Moulton Road. And they made the decision there was no silt. And then they made the decision to remove the barriers December 8th, 2023. So I wanted to know where the silt was, because I talked to Roger, it was just 2 days ago. He said it was checked. Roger Wilkes. And then I asked Tamika to check on it, I think it was Friday or.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna continue to October 15th.
Yeah, this, I think this is just a discussion item now, right?
Correct.
But yeah, we'll include it on our next agenda, yes. And then if we're lucky, hopefully, we'll get some feedback from DEP and that'll help advise us in our discussion at our next meeting on, October 15th
Yes.
is our next meeting.
Okay, do you want your materials back?
Yeah, I just thought you guys might be interested in what the debris looks like that, I mean, the fine sand, that's by the primary exit, you can see that it's almost pure white. And where that's coming from, certainly not from the pond. And that's gonna be 18 inches thick.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay. Just before we move on, any other discussion on this item from commission members? No? We all good? Anything else from the public on this item before we go to the next one? Not hearing anything? Okay. All right, well, we will revisit this at our next meeting.
Well, I expect to be able to fix those holes on the concrete within a couple of weeks, so.
We will have to see what DEP comes back with, but as Glenda mentioned, there are a couple options that would allow for work to happen quickly, which
Appreciate it.
again, I'm just speaking for myself. I think that would be in the best interest for that work to happen quickly. So hopefully, when we hear back from DEP, we'll see if they're in agreement with us. Okay, next item on our agenda, okay, let me share my screen again. On Zoom. We've got the notices of intent for Brintnal Estates. This is for Quail Run Road, Brintnal Drive. Tamika, remind me, we got 11 total, I think it was?
11 total, yep, for Brintnal Estates. So Julian had indicated he was available this coming Saturday at 10 a.m.
Your pen's underneath.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you, you
Have a good
too.
night.
Take care.
And Julian is also the submission for Irish Lane. So I, in talking with him, had proposed maybe just doing both site visits on the same date. I had thrown out October 5th and October 12th, and it looks like the 5th would be the best for him at 10 a.m. So I was gonna see if any commission members would be available to do that this weekend.
How's everybody's schedule looking? I cannot commit to this Saturday morning. I
I'm not
might be able to make it, but I'm a maybe.
I'm tied up.
You are, okay,
I think I'm 50-50.
okay.
What about,
I'm gonna check on a couple things.
Does anybody have availability during the week on an evening?
I can do that if it's, 5, 6 o'clock. I can do it.
yeah, I can do Monday, Wednesday, Thursday during the week. After work, after 4.
My other suggestion was gonna be the following Saturday. I don't know if that's too far
I
out.
don't think he was available.
Okay.
Yeah, cause I had
Okay.
proposed both the 5th and the 12th, cause they were both between our meetings,
Yeah.
and he said only the 5th
said
he was
only the 5th.
available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I kinda like weekdays better. 'Cause
Yeah, we
it
did seem to
doesn't,
be.
like blow your whole Saturday up
yeah.
Agreed.
when you only have 2 days off anyways. And we have to go back to work Monday.
Is there a weekday in the next couple weeks, say like 5:30, that would work for everybody?
I can do any day at 5:30.
What do you think, Skip?
I think we might be able to do that. During the weekends I can.
Yeah,
Weeknights are tough for me in general, but I would say I defer to everybody else's schedule, and if I can make it, I'll be there.
how about,
Monday the 7th?
I actually might be able to make that.
Monday the 7th.
Or the 10th, I'm free.
The 10th I definitely can't do. I have a hearing that night.
What time's good? If we did Monday the 7th, what time do people like?
Tamika mentioned 5:30, that works for me.
Yeah.
Say 5:30 on the 7th?
Okay, do
Did-
you guys have a preference of starting at Brintnal or at Irish Lane?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Nope.
So I will confirm that date and time with Julian, and then I'll email everybody to confirm that it's a go and to also let you know which site we're gonna start at. And then all the NOIs and the plans and the RDA, all of them are on the drive, so that you can check them out. And then the hearing will be published for the next meeting on the 15th.
Would it, I'm just thinking out loud here, would it make sense to start, well, do we need to start a little bit earlier, just so we have enough sunlight?
Yeah, and it gets dark by,
Oh, that's so sad, I didn't
No,
think
It's dark by
no.
7.
It's starting, I'm just thinking it's starting to get dark a little bit earlier every day.
6:45, yeah.
And if we have, obviously at Brintnal will be the bulk of it. But then if we started, say, Irish and then go to Brintnal, a little bit of travel time, just thinking about how long the whole thing's gonna take.
Say 5.
Maybe we wanna say 5,
okay with you guys?
Yeah.
yeah, okay, we'll propose 5, and if that works
Sure.
for Julian.
Okay.
So we're not walking around in the dark, can't see anything. That probably wouldn't be,
That would be a good
that probably wouldn't be very helpful for any of us.
So this plan for Irish Lane,
So he does have it, I don't know if
it's
this
just
helps
a delineation.
Glenda, he has an A&R that's for the same property that's going before the planning board on Tuesday.
Okay,
But I don't know if that helps answer your question.
so this, I don't see really any, like, what is the work for Irish Lane?
I believe eventually it's going to be a single family dwelling. I haven't looked at the Form A though, so I don't know specifically what size the lot's gonna be. Or if he's splitting it up.
Additional paper, part 2A, I don't think I have that part. I said BBW sheets. So, I guess, does he want us to just confirm the delineation is accurate as, because there's not really any development plan.
Let me see, what's he asking for on the form?
Is there like a proposed home location, a septic, utilities?
I think, is it possible, I mean, I'm totally speculating here, but similar to what he did up on Ridge Road, where he had the delineation, he did the A&R, and then they eventually went to develop it. I'm
Yeah,
wondering
maybe-
if that's what's happening here.
Yeah. Maybe he just wants us to confirm, it looks like a pretty big delineation. It'd probably be good to get the full, do you have a full-scale plan we could borrow?
Yeah, I have the full-scale people copy in my office.
Or it's online, but I could just print it off.
It's online. There's also a copy in the clerk's office too.
Yeah, okay. Or even if I could get it, I could print it on an 11x17, that might be even better. At least better than, this one's microscopic.
Yeah, tough.
I need
I've
my,
got the plan up on the screen, unfortunately I can't seem to rotate it, but that's the only resource area I'm seeing, and I can't quite read this, I think it says isolated,
Isolated land.
Subject to flooding. so it looks like that's an ILSF, which doesn't have buffer zone, and I'm guessing this is probably BVW,
Yeah, that's what it says.
BBW.
yeah, which would have buffer zone.
And then it has this wetland buffer on the upper side.
Oh, ILSF doesn't have buffer under the state act?
It does not, no.
I never knew because like in Holden, we can regulate anything and we put 100 on it, so I never
Okay.
really have to be too concerned with that, but.
Yeah, under state regs, it is protected, but it does not have a buffer zone, similar to floodplains. Protected,
Okay.
but no buffer zone.
Good to know. Good refresher. All right. So
It seems like you're missing.
does his report talk about, yeah, I can't find these additional paper attachments.
Yeah, I didn't see those either, actually.
2A and 2B are not in the RDA.
Oh, yeah, everything he submitted, I uploaded and I apologize, I didn't realize there was missing pages.
It's probably not your fault, Tamika.
No, I think they referenced them, but I don't think they included them. Can you check with Julian,
I sure
Tamika?
can.
Just see if he can,
So what was missing,
he-
2A and 2B that are
yeah,
referenced?
he said,
Yeah.
see,
Oh, yeah,
see
yeah.
additional paper attachment, part 2A, and then another reference to part 2B.
Okay.
Cause it is hard to tell what they're actually asking for under this RDA, cause they also check several boxes under part C. Whether the area is subject to jurisdiction, whether the boundaries are accurately delineated, and whether the activities are subject to jurisdiction and regs. Basically all the above.
Yeah.
I'll get some clarification for you guys and send it out before your site walk next week.
Okay, thank you, Tamika.
And then I wonder if he has any write-up on the ILSF, if it meets this state definition.
Yeah, there were some wetland forms in here.
Volume.
So he's got the BVW, looks like delineation forms.
Surprised Zach man did this.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. Zach man, okay.
I don't see anything specific to the ILSF. I may
Upland.
be missing it.
V11 upland, V11 upland.
Do you want me to ask him if he has any documentation for that?
Yeah, why don't you ask, just cause normally to identify it as isolated land subject to flooding, they usually provide calculations that just verify the volume of it. Cause it's gotta be, Glenda, remind me, it's gotta be
Quarter acre foot,
quarter acre foot minimum and I think 6-inch depth.
yes, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Jeez, from 3 years ago.
Yeah, I don't see anything on the ILSF with the wetland forms.
Okay.
Looks like this is all just for the BVW.
So if we had a local bylaw, that isolated area would be jurisdictional and you could put a buffer on it,
We could, that's true.
just saying.
There's a topic we have to get back to at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll slow down over the winter and we can actually put a bylaw together.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, well, I'll follow up with you guys on that and
Okay.
on the site walks.
Thank you, Tamika.
Thank you.
Alright, well, that covers our next item too, which was the RDA for 41 Irish Lane, so I think we're good there. What else we got? Identification tags for commission members. Tamika, you wanna give us the rundown on this? I did see your email.
too?
So Skip actually reminded me, we had talked a long time ago back during COVID about getting badges for you guys to wear when you go on site visits. And it just kind of never happened. So when Skip brought it up to me, I looked on Amazon and they have, you can order personalized ones with a lanyard for like, I think with shipping it was like $12. So I just, rounded up and thought, given that you would be using them for site visits, which is part of enforcing the Wetlands Protection Act, it seemed like it would be a qualified purchase. Just to see if the commission was willing to authorize an expense up to $100 to get that for each of the commission members. And then it's not a huge expense, so when there is turnover on the commission, we can just get another one for somebody. Just your thoughts on that?
So they would have our name on there?
Yeah, so we would put like the town logo with the town of Rutland and your
Very
name.
official.
Very official. It'll have a lanyard.
You want your picture on it
If you
too?
want a picture, you can have a picture. Amazon does anything.
No,
Another photo
Holden
shoot.
has, I lost both my Holden ones and people are always like,
Who are you?
Oh, don't give Glenda one, she'll lose it.
I lost my
They'll
ID.
use it for
So the
holding.
lanyard's a good idea.
Yes.
I lose everything.
Really be
If
official.
it's not tied down.
So they'll grab all that and hang you up by the neck.
Best thing that happened to me all freaking year, Skip.
Tamika, did you know, I don't remember off the top of my head, what we have in our WPA account right now?
About $113,000.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
I thought it was quite a bit more than 100.
Yes.
I don't know. What's everybody think?
I think we should personally.
Yeah, I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I do
So I'll
too.
make a motion that we purchase the tags.
Do you
Need a
wanna
second.
set a maximum of $100 on that expenditure?
Yes.
Just be limited, okay.
We'll be all efficient and stuff. We should get matching clipboards.
Oh, you want that?
Bucket-
Listen, if I get a
buckets?
good deal and it's under
Right.
$100,
That's true.
who knows what I could get for you guys?
Well, I heard a motion. Any second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Clock eye.
There you go.
Williamson,
Keen and I.
Bjork and I.
Jensen aye. All right,
Okay,
thanks
That was
Tamika.
tough.
we're gonna
That
have
was
to
a tough one.
dazzle you guys.
I'm so excited.
All right.
Next meeting?
It's Amazon, maybe I'll have it by then.
Just kidding, just kidding.
Next item, forest cutting plan for Kenwood Court. There we go. Alright. Let's see if we can figure out where this is.
Right. It's always a
Right to the back
lengthy
here.
investigation. Who's the dude? It's a private residence at 3 Kenwood Court. 25 acres. Start date 8/26.
Dead end road, Kenwood.
Looks like
Really?
we're,
Yeah.
I have no idea where it is.
Dining.
here, let me pull up the plan again.
It showed the solar panels
Yeah,
on
there it
the
is.
plan.
Yep, yeah, solar panels noted right there. Okay.
Okay, and
Zoom in down here. Let's see. I assume
Ross Hubax, wow,
stand 1 here,
he's my dude.
number 2 here. Let me see, I see a number 3 here, and then I see no
No
cut.
cut.
That's interesting.
Stand 1,
That was up here to the
stream
north.
crossing, no, wetland crossing, filter strip.
Yeah, stand 1's up here to the north. Just wanna flip back to the aerial. So that must be stand 1 up here,
Mhm.
and then 2 and 3 around in this area. Just flip back, yeah, 2's here, 3's here. That's noted no cut. This is all open, so obviously no cut there.
Could you pop up the, oh wow. Is this Mass Mapper?
What's that?
Is this Mass Mapper?
Yes.
Could you put on the, I'm just curious to know if that stream's river or,
Intermittent.
yeah,
Oh,
the USGS?
yeah, we pull that up.
He included it, but it's impossible to see in black and white.
It's always hard to tell on the USGS map.
Yeah, I have to keep toggling on and off.
Yeah, let me also, hold on a second, I'll do this. I find this layer works a little bit better, although it's impossible to see, but.
Oh, the linear features? Oh, no.
It's really hard to tell. Huh, it's actually not showing up as a feature, that's not right. It looks like a solid line to me,
Mm-hmm.
which would be a perennial stream.
Could you turn on the USGS one more time?
Yeah.
So that's a thicker, darker line, so
It
that
is,
would
yeah.
confirm perennial.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, you can tell, see this one over here? You can see it's
Yeah.
clearly
Yep.
dashed.
Yep, intermittent.
That's clearly dashed, those are the intermittent ones, but
Okay,
I forget the name of the pond here, but where it comes out of the pond, it looks like the main stream is noted as perennial. Which does coincide with the topographic map. I always have a hard time with the USGS map because the intermittent are still solid, but they're a little thinner, and it's hard to tell the difference sometimes.
it really is.
Yeah. That's why I always check the other layer, but that checks out.
Okay. So riverfront.
Did they say they had? They didn't have a crossing with that stream though, right? I don't think.
No, there's no wetland crossing marked on.
No, it says no cut anyway in that area.
It does, yeah. It says no cut, no
No
cut.
cut, no cut.
But where's the filter strip? Is that along the riverfront?
Filter strip on the left there, FS.
Oh, yeah,
Yep,
okay, I
there you
didn't
go,
see it up there.
right there. Sorry.
So we can't do anything about it. But it's interesting to look at. We can, if there's any comments, we can send them to the forester and they'll take them into consideration.
Does anybody have any comments, any questions you wanna ask them? I don't have anything.
No, he's pretty right to the rule, this
Yeah.
particular person.
Yeah.
Who's the owner?
Lehman Tynan,
Yep,
Skip knows probably everybody in town. I probably know everyone in town.
yeah, he's been here 103 years.
wow,
The
He actually
family.
older than you.
that beats you.
Yeah, it does. He's only been here
That's not
102.
easy to do.
That's crazy.
Alright, we good with this forest cutting plan?
Yep.
Cool, okay. Well, that's the last item on our agenda. Anybody have anything else we wanna talk about?
There was something about us,
Stop sharing for a second.
that 213 Barry Paxton Road, Melissa said they were supposed to give a notice when, and we never received it. Did you ever find anything out on that?
Yes, so I followed up with him and he misunderstood. He thought that he was done with what he needed to do. So I've been back in touch with him to let him know that that's not the case, that the condition of the enforcement order was the notice of intent. So he's going to reach back out and work with Julian to get that situation figured out. So I am in connection with him.
And let me guess, all the work on the property's already been done.
Oh, why not?
Yeah, so the work on the property was done before he
Forever
ever
ago.
came here for the
Yeah,
first time.
yeah.
And so
Okay.
everything from the beginning has been after the fact, but the commission, you guys had asked him to like remove the wood chips
There was
and do all that
restoration.
stuff. There was restoration, so he did that and he thought that the restoration was what the commission was looking for. And so I confirmed with Melissa and she said, no, the NOI was the condition of the enforcement order. So
Right.
I'm working with
That's
him
how I
and he's
remember.
working with Julian, so that is still on the radar, so I'm on it.
Good, Tamika.
Was that the only thing from last time?
And then something about a
Was it
Yeah,
that
so the
follow-up?
other
12
one-
Emerald Road, COC 12 Emerald Road.
Yeah, so we have to figure that one out a little bit differently because when you look up 12 Emerald Road in the SharePoint, there was actually a COC that was issued for that property. I don't think it's that one.
Oh,
So there was another one that had to do with Land Planning Inc. and Mark, I think Elbag wanted to not have to do the restoration areas, things like
Right.
that. So I'm still trying to figure that one out
Okay.
a little bit, but yep, I did
Okay.
still have that note from last time.
Alright, thanks, I'm sorry, Jared, I didn't mean to interrupt, was there another
it's okay.
project?
No, that was the one I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that was it.
And I
couldn't
just
remember
wanted to let you guys know, I will not be at the next meeting because of the holiday, I'll be at the select board meeting, cause it falls to the next day. But I'll
Can't
make
allow
sure.
that. We cannot allow that.
I know. So, I will get you guys set up with everything that you need, and although there will be 12 technically public hearings, hopefully it won't be too bad because they're all within that
Yeah.
Brintnal Estates subdivision. So,
Try to get through them quickly.
yes,
Do they look like they're adjacent to one another?
yes.
Okay, that's helpful.
Yeah. I think so. Okay.
Do we need to do anything with the Phillips Road cell tower spot that Tim and I went to?
Oh, that's right. 'Cause you guys did that site visit.
We did.
Do we wanna just do a real quick overview?
Yes,
What
I'm
you guys
sorry,
saw?
I forgot to include that in the
That's
agenda.
okay.
I forgot about that too. We don't have to vote to add it, do we?
No, cause this could be unanticipated
Okay.
within 48
Okay.
hours.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys wanna just give a quick overview for everybody's benefit, this was inspection of installed erosion controls, is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
And there were wattles, I guess they're called, surrounded the entire, wherever they were needed.
Okay.
There were breaks where, they were gonna put the wood chips.
Yeah, it calls for like a wood chip berm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which once they start the clearing, they'll create that. He did, so you and Melissa and myself did the initial one
Walked
with
it the
them.
first, yep, that
He
first
he
time.
did everything that he only used wattles up at the front where the house is, cause
Yep.
people are crossing
They gotta
through
get
there all the
across.
time.
Yep.
The silt fence was really tight and trenched in properly.
Overlapping.
The wall, everything was overlapping, it looked really good, I mean,
Okay. Ends of the wattles, they were overlapped
overlapping.
horizontally, not vertically.
Right.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, that was I included that in the photos.
Yeah, I think I saw that,
I don't know if you
yeah.
could access them or not, but
Yeah, okay, that's good.
they were gonna,
we told him, oh, sorry.
they were gonna start cutting, next week or the week after?
Yeah, we told him, we didn't really give him a go-ahead, we were gonna bring everything back
Yeah.
to the commission, so we didn't really, I don't know if that was what we were supposed to do, is give him an official go-ahead. But that never happened, so I don't know
Okay.
if we need to
Is
do
he,
that,
is he waiting for us, do we know, or
I don't know.
He said
Never.
the cutting wasn't gonna happen for a few weeks
a few
anyway,
weeks anyways, okay,
Yeah,
so.
he hasn't reached out since then.
okay,
And usually with it being a condition of the order of conditions in the past, I know if there was an issue with the erosion controls, it came back to the commission, but if all looked good, the
Yeah.
commission's never voted on that
Oh, right, okay.
per se. It just essentially when they apply for the building permit, that step, we would sign off on that step in viewpoint in the permitting process to say everything's all good. So that would go to Melissa.
okay. Well, sounds like everything was installed correctly,
Yeah,
so
looked fine.
Yeah, they look
no
good.
objections here, okay,
Thank you guys for doing that.
No problem.
Yeah, thanks.
thank you. Okay, anything else? I think that's it.
God, it's like pitch black out.
Yeah, I
I
know,
know.
right? I know we don't have much public left, but anything from the public? Jenna, anything else you had, or are you good?
Nothing from me, all set, thank you.
Thank you. Well, take a
You want
motion to
somebody to
adjourn.
say that word?
I'd love it.
Motion adjourn? Black eye.
Well, quick there, Skip.
Yeah, well, I'm
What's that?
waiting for somebody to fell asleep over here.
We need a second.
We need a second.
Second,
Oh, thank you.
Oh, Williams and
Keen and I.
Bjork and I.
Jen Salucci, aye. We are adjourned.
7:25.